Welcome to Solutions with Courtney Anderson. I am Courtney Anderson, and this is episode 199. 199 episodes we are into this program, and thank you. Thank you for being part of that entire experience as a community member, and I'm so grateful. So today on episode 199, we have a show that is part of the Joyful Art of Business series. And I always want to make sure that I ask you to drop by CourtneyAnderson.com. That's our central website, and that's where we have all of our material, our library of resources for you. So every single one of these episodes, all 199 of them, the material's on the site. When I mention the episode page or the show page, it's what it sounds like. There's an entire page, sometimes several pages, devoted to just each individual episode. It'll have links to any resources or references that I talk about. It'll also be a place where you can come back over time and if there's something you think, wow, I really want to know a little bit more about that, you can definitely follow up. I will also add supplemental material as time goes by, continually building out the resource of material that's available on CourtneyAnderson.com on all the pages. So come to CourtneyAnderson.com. I am now on social media. I'm on Twitter. And so you can access my tweets. I'm at Zealous Business. That's at Zealous Business. So please do that. And I do like to mention that if you find our program on one of our distribution partners, so iTunes, or Libsyn, or Stitcher, or Spreaker, or anywhere, then if you could leave a rating or a review, it would really be fantastic. Because I'm doing everything in my power on a daily basis to give new content to you, and it helps immensely with our infrastructure if you can share a little bit of what we're doing, either by posting it to your social media, leaving a review or rating on a distribution partner, and of course I'm going to ask you to, when you're on CourtneyAnderson.com, take a few seconds to go ahead and sign up for our community newsletter list, and then that way you'll be right there on a basis whenever you want it to find out what new information, webinars, seminars, programs, courses, shows are available. So episode 199, hey, who would have thought we would have made it, right? And this is Joyful Art of Business, and we have material on the website that gives you background resources on what that means. But basically what it means is this. When we do stuff that's work stuff, we just call it business. Doesn't matter whether it's paid or volunteer. And when we're doing the work stuff, we want to maintain vigilance and awareness of our emotion, our mental state, because how we feel is really important. And we are not, let me reiterate, we are not going to end up someone who is miserable. And then we're definitely not going to have somebody who's miserable and who shouldn't be. Meaning that, wow, they have a good job or they have some skills. I don't understand why they're so unhappy. Well, we're not going to have that happen because we're practicing the joyful art of business. We're remaining vigilant of how we feel. If we get to a situation where more often than not we don't feel good, I just call that joy. But if we feel bad, then it's an indicator. It is a warning. It is an alarm that we got to make some changes. So within that series, what's the show about today? What's episode 199 all about today? I hope you enjoy this. Our show topic today is a quote from an artist and a globally renowned individual who passed away in 2014. And I'm talking about Maya Angelou. What a wonderfully impressive contribution this artist, this writer, this thinker made to the planet. And again, as I said, she passed away in 2014 at the age of 86. I'm younger than 86 right now at the time I'm recording this, and I just think, wow, if I lived 86 years, one, that's a lot of time to fill, and two, I wouldn't be able to accomplish, 1% of what Miss Angelou was able to do. Just when you read her biography, it's stunning. Stunning. And it's inspirational, certainly, but it's also, again, I think something when we talk about practicing the joyful art of business, it's all about our action. And there are no excuses. Age or gender or anything else. And I think that certainly the author of the quote that's the title of the episode today, Maya Angelou, is an excellent example for us of the principle of practicing the joyful art of business, which, remember, again, is anything that we're doing in our work endeavors, which, again, could be something that we do for pay in a job, could be a business or a commercial endeavor. It could just be a volunteer task, or it could be a creative and artistic endeavor that we do, either privately or publicly. So, what's our quote from this esteemed, wonderful human, and again, contributor to all of us? What's our episode? Well, here we go. Episode 199, our specific show topic is never make someone a priority when all you are to them is an option. Now, I'm going to repeat this a few more times because this is one of the shows that I'm working through the show notes and I'm collaborating with the people who partner with me internally and externally. So my team members on a daily basis, and of course we have sponsors and other corporate and organizational sponsors and partners that we work with. But here's something, when I'm working through with those internal and external partners on the show, and I'm looking at the show notes and I'm thinking, okay, what's the lineup? What are we going to be recording? What are we going to move around? And I see a topic like this, just the topic gets me excited. I'm excited right now. I'm literally pacing. It's good this is one of our audio shows and we're not filming it, because if this was filmed, you would be hysterically laughing at me pacing around, because I just have so much kinetic, and so much physical energy just from the topic. So I'm going to repeat it just a few more times. Never make someone a priority when all you are to them is an option. Just one more time. Never make someone a priority when all you are to them is an option. Oh my goodness. I was shaking. I'm shaking and pacing around just because the words are so powerful. Just because the words are so powerful. My goodness. My goodness. And I'm going to interject this. If you are someone, and in many of our shows, many of our shows, poets, artists, philosophers, novelists, we have a variety of sources that we use for the shows. And I mentioned in many of these programs, if you are not familiar with this individual, you need to take the time to read as much as you can about a little short biography. And if there are resources that they have available that you could read directly that they created, you need to do that. In other words, if they have a book, several poem, you need to read it. So you don't want to say to yourself, well, I don't think I've heard of that person. Okay, that's a good start. But we are alive and have the opportunity at this time to infuse our being with knowledge. So I encourage you to not just think, well, I've heard of that person and that's a really good quote, and leave it there. Read, go further. And certainly Maya Angelou. Her most famous work was the book, I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings, which came out in 1969. I first read that book as a little girl. It's very, it's one of those books that's life-changing. And if you have not read it or you have not read that recently, do so. You owe it to yourself to take the time that you have and invest it in the exploration and the adventure and the exhilaration of the highest level of ideas and experiences. And so I had to ask, if you have not done so lately or you have not done so at all, pick that up and at least start with her most sort of generically widely known famous work. So, what does it mean never make someone a priority when all you are to them is an option? Let's work through it. When you go to the show notes, I put some links to biographical material on Maya Angelou so you get a better understanding. When I said there's someone that no matter if I could live as long as she was fortunate to, 86 years, or I lived multiples of that, maybe who knows what science has ahead of us, I wouldn't be able to do 1% at all of what she was able to accomplish. When you read her bio and see the variety and the scope of somebody who literally just grabbed life and just dove in, you'll definitely understand, if you're not already someone familiar with just the immense amount of living and wonderful, no limits. When I'm saying wonderful, when I'm saying here's someone, no limits to what she could do as an artist, as a writer, as a performer, as a dancer, as a teacher. Just amazing. All right, so here we are. What does it mean? So again, got some links to some biographical material. I've made my plea to you to continue on with that, enriching your mind with these resources that we talk about and share in these programs. And I have some definitions, and in many of our programs we use dictionary definitions because we want to make sure that we address potential ambiguity and that we also have a clear understanding of what are we talking about. What are we talking about? So, on the show page for the episode 199, which you'll find at CourtneyAnderson.com, you'll see that I have a definition from the Merriam-Webster dictionary for the word priority. So the first part of this quote says, I'm never going to do something, right? Never. And we usually don't like absolutes in our community because never, always, absolutes are rarely accurate. Because people are going to say, well, I don't know if you can say never. I mean, there might be maybe with an exception or two, or, So that's often why we attack absolutes, and we try to make sure that we're not using fallacies, right, or myths when we use our language. And we have a whole series of that, the Myth Warrior series of shows where we talk about attacking concepts, making sure that we're getting credible information. Well, so this first part of the quote says, never make someone a priority. Let's stop right there. Now, we know when we see the absolute never that we get a little bit of a red flag and think, uh-oh. We know absolutes are often misleading. But let's stop, because let's look at this whole first part of the phrase. Never make someone a priority. All right, so a priority, all right. What exactly does that mean? So the dictionary definition that's on the show page, I'm going to read right now, it says something that is more important than other things and that needs to be done or dealt with first. Okay, something that's more important than other things, all right? So I look around my life, I have 10 things I know I need to do, right? I need to do laundry, I need to think about paying bills, I got to call my friend I haven't talked to in a while, I got to feed the cat, right? I got all this stuff to do. So it says more important than other things. So the idea there is if I got 10 things, my priority is going to be the thing I do first. Right? And it may be that my priority is I'm going to feed the cat first because the cat is hungry and then I haven't fed the cat in a while. All right, that might be the priority. Or it says that things that need to be done or dealt with first, or it's more important than other things, right? So it could be I need to do this first because the cat's hungry, or that I need to put more water out for the cat because the cat's thirsty. It might be that I'm going to do this because it's more important. It's more important that I call my grandfather than it is that I do my laundry right now, right? So we got to make decisions. It's all about, and we love this. All we do is talk about outcomes, and we talk about surpassing our goals. So this is right up our alley, this thing about prioritizing something. But our show topic says never make someone a priority. Now, wait a minute. Okay, so this is pretty clear. All right, someone is what it sounds like, a human. We're gonna do a human right now. Okay, so I know I was mentioning the cat in our example. We got 10 things. Right now, our show topic is talking about people, someone. Okay, so it says never make someone a priority. All right, I'm not going to make someone else more important than other things, or deal with them first. So they're not going to move to the head of the line, right? And things I'm going to do. They're not going to be the head of the line of the most important. But let's see why. And remember, we normally are very skeptical when we see never or always, because those are absolutes, and again, very rarely are those accurate. But let's continue on with our examination. Never make someone a priority, right? So we're not going to ever put someone either more important or first. When? So this is really important. This is an if-then, right? This is an if-then relationship. So when it says if or when, all we are to them is an option, that we're never going to make them a priority. So that then, even though we're using absolutes, there are conditions to it, right? It's not never ever make anyone a priority. Well, that wouldn't make any sense. What it's saying is never make someone a priority under certain conditions. And those conditions are when all you are to them is an option. And this is where, right now, I'm going to just say it. This is where the logic and the conditions that are set and defined clearly make this a credible and absolutely important concept for us to bring into our individual and collective practice of the joyful art of business. Because we can see now, it's not telling us never make someone priorities. That wouldn't make any sense. What it's saying to us is if there are certain conditions that exist, under those defined circumstances, now I'm not going to make that individual a priority. Let's walk through what those conditions are, again, really clearly. It says when all you are to them is an option, then I'm never going to make them a priority. So this also harkens back to the show we did on reciprocity. I put the show links on the show page. We did that show on reciprocity, right, where we talked about this idea, and we've talked about it in several settings, where there's a relationship between us and other individuals. It could be at work. It could be in our personal lives with our friends. It could be in our personal lives with our spouses, our romantic partners. It doesn't really matter, the specific environment. But what we're asking when we're talking about reciprocity is there's a give and a take. We have equal value to everyone else. I say that over and over again in so many different settings because I adhere to that philosophy. I have equal value. And you have equal value to what? To each other and to everyone else. I'm a human and you're a human and they're a human and we are equal. We have equal value. So what this is saying, and when I'm referencing back to reciprocity, was that if I'm equal to them in value, now I'm not equal to them in skills, I'm not equal to them necessarily in age, I'm not equal to them necessarily in height, I'm not equal to them necessarily in talent. I said I have equal value inherently as an entity. I have equal value. Now we're going to have differences in all those other things: height, age, size, color, gender, all this kind of stuff. Right? Some people can bowl really well, and I've shared many times how happy I am and how much I love bowling and how poorly I perform in terms of my score. I'm not ashamed at all. That doesn't diminish my intrinsic value as a human. It just means that that's a different aspect and skill that I lack. Although, again, enjoy bowling immensely. So here we are. And it's telling us, and I'm referring back to the idea of reciprocity, that when we're in relationships with other people, remembering I'm equal to them, they're equal and to me in terms of our inherent value, not in terms of our skills, not in terms of, how well we bowl or how well we speak French or anything, the specific to that, but our intrinsic value is equal. Then I understand when I enter into relationships, we're going to reciprocate, right? I'm going to give, they're going to give. And we talked about in that show in depth about what happens if they're not giving. So we talked about, and we're talking about in this show, the same settings, right? So if I'm at a job and I give my boss everything I have, all of my time, I'm there early, I stay late, I don't take my lunch, I make my boss a priority. My boss is first. So I say to my family, I say to my friends, I'm sorry, I can't, my boss needs me. I'm going to have to cancel our plans. I can't come to your school play. I have to go because my boss is my priority. And we talked about in the reciprocity show that when you give and 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 you give, and there's never reciprocity, it's never returned, that relationship has failed. And we talked about how you handle that in that episode. Okay, so if you haven't accessed that, or you accessed it a while ago, go back and refresh your recollection. Again, the link's in the show page, and you can just find it on CourtneyAnderson.com. So we know that when someone's in a relationship with work, with their boss, where they made their boss a priority, and all they are to the boss is an option. Let's clarify that last part, the option, right? We said under those well-defined and delineated conditions precedent, then the clause of not making them a priority makes sense. So let's make sure we understand what that means. What does that mean, that all I am to them is an option? What does that mean? So dictionary definition, again, it's on the show page, the link, says, here we go, option. The opportunity or ability to choose between, the opportunity or ability to choose something, or to choose between two or more things. Something that can be chosen, a choice or possibility. Now this is really, I love it. I love it looking at it on the page right now, right? So here I've got my notes in front of me, obviously, and I'm looking at these dictionary definitions, and it's so obvious, the difference. In the first instance, priority says they're more important, and I'm doing them first, right? They're more important than everything else. They're at the front of the line. Now we look at option, and it says, now in that situation, then the person is choosing. You're not well, I want to be more precise, but it's somewhat the antithesis of priority, right? Priority is first in line, most important. So when you make your boss your priority, you're saying, hey, I'm sorry, family. I'm sorry, friends. I'm sorry, people that I said I would come to the volunteer activity. My boss is most important, so I'm going to cancel the plans or not follow through with you because my boss is priority. My boss is first of the line, more important than anything else. I'm sorry, cat. I haven't even taken care of my cat. My boss is a priority, right? First, most important, more important. Dealt with first. Now look at option again. Look at option. Ability to choose. I could choose something, or I could not choose it at all and just leave it there. Or I could choose between two or more things. Maybe I choose this thing or that thing. Those are absolutely contradictory in many instances because priority is first, right now, more important. Option is I may choose it or I may not choose it at all. Or I may choose this or I might choose something else. You're not first, you're not even second. You may not even be exercised as an option at all. In other words, when you're the priority, when you make your boss the priority, my boss comes first. My boss comes first, right? I'm not going to take care of anything else because my boss comes first. Now your boss, if you're an option, you might think, well, maybe my boss, I'm not first. Maybe his family or his friends are first, but maybe I'm second, or maybe I'm third. No, you may not even be on his list of options that he's going to exercise at all. He might not even choose you at all. Now you just think about that. And that's why I said earlier when I'm pacing and I'm repeating this topic and I'm getting so I'm tingling with energy. We cannot make someone else more important or the most important or first when we are not first to them. We're not even second. We may be 75th, or we may not even be on the list at all. That's what this is saying. When I'm an option to them, then under our reciprocity concept in that program and many other things that we talk about, then they need to be an option to me. Now, if I was their priority, then it would follow in many instances that they may be my priority. But I will never make someone my priority when I am not their priority. It is not reciprocated. Now, we mentioned this with the work situation because it comes up all the time. And I've seen this, I honestly, hundreds of times around the world. Around the world. I've seen it in Asia. I've seen it in Africa. I've seen it in Australia. I've seen it in North America. We did a show. We talked about, it was a multi-part show. We talked about what I call the client experience. That when we're at work, okay, we're not ever going to be in a situation where we make our boss, our job, the priority when they don't make us the priority. And one of the ways to do that is to view them as a client instead of as an employee-employer relationship. Because if they're a client, it relinquishes all of these expectations. The expectation that they care, the expectation that they listen, the expectation that they are going to put me first, or at least put me on the list of important stakeholders. They may or they may not. But if I view them as a client, I change my thinking and I think, well, I've given them my best expertise and information. I've done my absolute best work under the circumstances, tools, resources, and time they provided. And I'm going to let that be the decision and their choices with them. I'm going to treat them as a client. And I'm going to be the one that makes the call on my future. I'm not going to put it in their hand. And it was another way where we were addressing specifically only at work this idea of reciprocity and this idea of how we view the relationship, what our expectations are. And I'm so impassioned about this because how many lives are negatively impacted when people are not able to practice joyful art business, and sometimes I'm going to be very frank, people sabotage and really destroy their own life behind a misapplication of this show. You are not able. You are prohibited. I'm going to just go. You are prohibited from making someone a priority when you are not their priority. So if the job, I just need you and you can work late, or, can you come in early, or can you work through your lunch, or here's the reality. You are going to do everything that you have to within the parameters of that job. But you're not going to be the one who makes them a priority when they don't make you a priority. Have they come to you and given you additional benefits or vacation or bonus for doing this? No, they haven't. So that means you're not a priority to them. They're looking for someone to take advantage and exploit in terms of your time, resources, and talent, and that's not going to be you. So you'll say something like, oh, I absolutely will work on whatever project you need me to. As you know, we have our lunch scheduled, and so I'm going to go take my lunch. What do you want me not to do when I get back from lunch so that I can handle the thing that you've asked me to do right now? And then it's back on them. You have let them know. Of course, you're going to use correct language and appropriate phrasing for your culture. But you're going to let them know that, of course, you're going to, absolutely. If they want you to work on something different than what you were working on, that's great. And as soon as you get back from the break that was already agreed to, either in your contract or your work schedule or your expectations, then you will do that. But they're going to have to tell you ahead of time what it is that they're going to expect you not to get done. Because you're not going to stay, quote unquote, late. And now, if you have a situation where you have overtime pay, with, okay, you're going to get time and a half, or double time. Well, now we're talking. All right, well, now it's reciprocated. Right? You're going to pay me double the hourly rate that I normally get paid for this? Well, I will, absolutely. Let me see what I can do, because now we're talking about reciprocity. Right? Now let's talk for just a few moments about personal outside of work relationships. You see this with all types of our interpersonal relationships, with our friendships, with our dating and families, family of origin, and family of choice. I want to reiterate something I mentioned in many of our shows, which is the community of caring. Our community of caring is, of course, defined as the people in our lives who meet this test. Our happiness is their happiness. That's the end of the test. So it's really simple, right? So I'm looking around in my life, and who meets my test of my happiness is their happiness? And of course, the converse is my unhappiness is their unhappiness. Who would that be? Well, you look at the behavior. So who is it that's if you're sad, they're sad. If somebody did something, mean and cruel to you, they're upset and fired up. What? If you're hurt, they're hurt. If you're happy, they're happy. Who is that? Whoever it is, even if it's somebody you might initially think, well, oh, that cousin, or oh, my sister-in-law, or oh, my neighbor, oh, that goofy friend, my spouse, oh, my adult child. I don't care who it is. If they meet that test, they're in your community of caring. And of course, under the reciprocity rule, you have to have, for this to work and be healthy, you have to have the same test result for them. If they're unhappy, you're unhappy. Now, if there's anyone in your world and they fail the test, right? So they say things that are mean to you. They make fun of you. They insult you. They put you down. When you're hurt, they say things to you like, "What's wrong with you? You're so sensitive. Get over it. Just a baby. Toughen up." They are not community of caring. Again, I don't care what their title is. I don't care if their title is wife or mother or child or sister or uncle. I don't care what their title is. I care about their behavior, because the title can be misnomers. And there's not a correlation necessarily between the title and if someone's in your community of caring. Now, often we hope, and in many instances, it does work out where people who have a title that implies that they are in a community of caring actually in real life really are. That does happen sometimes. But it doesn't happen automatically. They could be grandmother and not be in your community of caring. Right? Because they say, oh, I don't care that you're sad. You're just a baby. You're an idiot. Of course you screwed up at work. You always screw up. That's not your community of caring. I don't care what the title is. We're looking only at behavior. And remember, we're reciprocating. Now, of course, many of you say, well, but I love my grandmother. I understand that she's not in my community of caring, but I still love her. Wonderful, of course. Fine. That's great. All I'm saying is you're going to have something that you're going to invest in to offset the fact that she's not able to reciprocate and be in a community of caring in a bilateral one with you. So you may give her your support and loyalty and investment emotionally, but you're going to have some other outlet to have you be supported because she's not able to do so, right? So community of caring. When someone's in community of caring, they pass the test. When I pass the test, they pass the test for me. And we just keep doing that. That's all it is through life, often lifelong. And potentially beyond. We don't know, right? So community of caring, when someone's in my community of caring, then of course, I'm a priority and they're a priority. That's that call that you get and you're in the middle of something really important, except for probably maybe like a life-saving situation. So if you're like a firefighter, you're a surgeon, you're in the middle of that, you might not be able to take the call just because you wouldn't get it because you're in the operating room and the person's life is literally in your hands, or you're fighting the fire. But as soon as you get away from that emergency situation, the first call you'll take is from that priority person, and they will take your call. See, equal in the relationship, not that they have the same job you have, not that you're measuring that, oh, I was on the phone for 3 minutes with you and you only talked to me for a minute. No, that's silly. What we're talking about is priority under the ramifications and realities of their life. And this is really important. Just as we said that people can sabotage and destroy themselves, right? They burn out physically, mentally with mischaracterization and prioritizing incorrectly their boss or their job that doesn't prioritize them at all, right? Oh, and I want to mention the show we did when you talk about coworkers at work, where we talked about someone says, well, I do my job and then everybody else's. Am I a sucker or a superstar? Please access that show so that you can understand and remember the test, so you can see whether or not it's a good thing that you're pitching in and helping, or if you're unfortunately being taken advantage of and exploited. And it again goes back to reciprocity. Are you paid more than everybody else? Do you have a bigger office? Are they reciprocating the fact that you're carrying the extra load? So again, these tests are over and over again applied in different ways. You see, our programs integrate and then build together. So, in our personal lives, what happens to a person in a personal life when they make another person? Especially when you talk about your best friend and your romantic partners. And sometimes that's the same person, right? If you make someone your priority, best friend, romantic partner, you share everything, you want to spend as much time with them as you possibly can, you look forward to them. I know for myself, in those relationships, the person that, even when I think about them, my heart skips a beat. I'm excited. I'm invested in them. I think about them. Did they, if we're apart, are they having a good day at work? Are they eating healthy? on their break. You know, I hope nothing bad happened with the people that they don't get along with in the office. You know, these are the people that I know in my most precious and special times and relationships in my life. If something's wrong with them and they're telling me something about, you know, somebody at the office, it might be somebody I'd never even actually met, right? But I feel that anger and that pain. I'm upset that someone hurt them. That's that test, right? My happiness is their happiness. Their happiness is my happiness. But I must mention this because I've seen this and I, especially in the setting of my general law practice where I've done so much family law work, people, child custody, divorce, child support, paternity cases. I want to just again say this very clearly. You have equal value to myself, me, and to everybody else. And if you make someone a priority, and they do not make you their priority, I know it's painful, but you must immediately stop. Stop what? Making them a priority. And I know I've seen, a lot of it was in my work, as I mentioned earlier when I was a lawyer, and I saw these cases, right, where it's like, oh, I love her so much. I moved, you know, across the country for her. You know, I'm working 2 jobs for her. All I do is think about her. I care about her. I'm trying to provide for her. And then the reality is, and then she has, you know, 3 other people that she spends time with, and she cheats on me and lies to me, and she stole from me. I'm going to say this, as right now, as I'm recording this, I recently did some lawyer work. It was volunteer lawyer work. I mean, I was sitting with a gentleman, and he had a story like that. He made this woman his life. He made her his priority, and he moved, and he quit his job, and he was, you know, and he got new jobs, and he was sacrificing everything for her. And she lied to him and cheated on him, and he was crying. It was, you know, these things are. We spend a lot of times talking about, a lot of shows and a lot of time in shows talking about the reality that there are some people, a minority, very small, rare minority, but they exist, who do derive pleasure from inflicting pain on other people. And we have all types of shows where we talk about how you handle that at work, how you handle that in different types of work settings, how you handle that in your life in general. And every time I'm in a setting like this where I'm literally absorbing to the best of my ability as an empath the pain that other people are in, it just reinforces for me how important it is that we do this program and all the other resources so that we don't have this happen. You must immediately check right now when you finish the show, who's in my life that I made a priority? And then just ask the simple question, am I their priority? And do not lie to yourself. Don't give me any lies or rationalizations. A lie or rationalization is something like this. Well, yeah, I think I'm their priority. I mean, you know, they have a lot of work to do, and sometimes they just, you know, I know that the inside they care. They just might not express it. Okay, here we go. Those are lies and rationalizations. I want you to look at that dictionary definition on the show page of priority. It says more important, and then it says first. Look at those words. And I've said this, and I will continue to say this over and over again. As humans, words are incredibly important, and they're beautiful. When we talk about poetry and art and philosophy and anything, I mean, and music, I mean, beautiful. Words are beautiful. I love that. Right? I love words and ideas. But in real life, we must function within a world of action as we relate to ourselves and other people. Action. The action is what I want you to look at. Does their action make you first? And I want you to stop with any lie. Oh, well, they said they wanted to call me, or they thought about calling me. No, I said their action. And I think one of the reasons why it's so hard at work and in our regular real lives outside of work to handle this topic is because it hurts so much. We've done shows on rejection, and please access those. We talk about this. Because when we make someone a priority, and we have to absorb the honest assessment that they have not done that for us, it hurts. And there's a range of emotion. There's pain, there's anger, there's fear. People get caught in that very negative and completely useless spiral. They start going down the path mentally. Oh, what did I do? What did I do wrong? What could I have done differently? How can I make them want me to be a priority? You can't. I want you to really listen to this. You are a wonderful, special prize of a person. I know that because A, you take the time to be in this program and to stay this long for something that's optional. Just in the quest of knowledge, information, and potentially enhancing your life. And you're thinking and you're asking yourself, what can I do better? And in all of our programs, we talk about being of service, and we talk constantly about ethics, doing the right thing. And no, you and I, we are not, perfection does not exist, and when it does, it's just a fleeting, like a second or so, a moment. It's not sustainable. We've talked about that in many programs. We're not perfect. Of course, it's not possible. But I'll tell you what we are. We're trying, and we're doing, more importantly than trying, we are doing our best. And we are going above and beyond the bare minimum. We're asking ourselves, how can we learn more and be more and achieve and more and give more? And that is something that is not average. That is special. And if someone does not recognize how rare and how fortunate they were to have someone like you of your caliber invest in them, your time, your emotions, and prioritize them, and they choose to treat that with disrespect, rejection, the silent treatment, another program we did, whatever version it is where they do not reciprocate and you are not their priority. And let me put it to you as bluntly as I can. If you are having to make excuses and rationalizations, you're not their priority. When you are their priority, it is known, and it is known not just to you, it is known to everyone. Priority doesn't come with explanation. It is observed. I talked to a wonderful long-term friend of mine recently, someone I've known since I was like 12 years old. And she was telling me about a wedding that she had gone to. And she said that at the wedding, when the bride was coming down the aisle, that the groom was standing there. And she said he was so apparently overjoyed and excited to be marrying her. He started clapping and just, she said it was embarrassing and goofy, right? Like, you know, it's supposed to be cool, but he didn't care. It was observable that she was his priority. Not only was he there, I mean, how many of these movies and real life examples, right, where somebody gets stood up at the altar, which is just, oh my gosh, it's bad, but it would be worse if they came and they really weren't married. But here's somebody not just there, they're there, and they are, when they say their priority, they're all in. That's the most important, so important that he is clapping. He is excited to marry her. Do you know how far we can go in life with just commitment? We talk about this in so many programs. Commitment to ourselves, commitment to our communities, commitment to people in our community of caring, commitment to our health, commitment. Just commitment. I don't even have to be talented. I just need to be committed. Just be there and be committed. And then work with people in a trusting, safe environment. You know, you can accomplish in life all kinds of things. If you're having to question it or make excuses for it or explain it, it doesn't exist. You're not the priority. And that hurts. And I know it because I've been there. And that's not a failing or anything that we've done wrong, other than that it's just life. I've been there at work, and I've certainly been there in my personal life. You have to just, that's why we're vigilant. Remember, practicing joyful art business, I'm vigilant all the time. How do I feel? I'm just checking. Might have been that somebody was we were their priority in the past. For whatever reason, we're not right now. That's okay. I can't control it. I just observe it. And I try to communicate with them first. Maybe something is happening that I'm unaware of. They could share with me. Oh my goodness, they're scared about a health situation or something I wasn't aware of is happening. Oh, okay, now I know. Let's work together. We're committed. But if you don't have that, they're not making you their priority, you cannot unilaterally do this. You can't. It's got to be partners. They both have to be committed. When you find those relationships with your work, I've been very fortunate. Wonderful people. When I've had my management and leaders I look up to and respect, listen to me and ask me how I'm doing. And my personal relationships, when you have those relationships, or the people are doing a version of clapping when you're walking down the aisle for you, it's observable. It's evident. Everybody can see it. Some people even tease other people, right? You'll tease those people. Oh, his husband is just so committed, just so there all the time, really cares. Okay. People care about people. And sometimes, like I said, people who outside are observing it, they may even make fun of it. I don't care. It's observable. It's evident. Let's be explained. And when I've been, again, as a lawyer, mostly in these, because I myself have never been divorced, but when I've been in these breakups, custody battles and divorces as a lawyer, and one person is just in so much pain and crying out and saying, I did everything. I did everything. I gave you everything and more. I gave you what I didn't have. I messed up my job. I left my family. I changed my life for you. And this is how you repay me. When people get in that dialogue, it's so painful. As I said, it's painful. Just to be there and hear it is painful. To live it is excruciating, I would imagine. How do we prevent that? And if it's happened, how do we make sure it doesn't happen again? This is how. This show, in conjunction with the principles I've referred to in this program, reciprocity. Understanding what's happening. We did a show where we talked about why do people do what they do. And I answered that because they want to and they're allowed to. As we close this episode, I really do. I said to you, you're prohibited, and I meant it. I really did. And I almost never, I can't tell you what to do with your life, but I'm going to tell you what you should do. You should invest in yourself and your value. And if you let other people who you are not a priority for them, if you let them steal your resources of time and energy and affection and caring and hard work and integrity, then yes, it was awful that they didn't reciprocate, but I'm going to put the responsibility back on you because you're an adult. The moment you become aware of this, what do? We communicate immediately. You become aware. Wait a minute, my boss hasn't made me a priority. I become aware of that. I'm going to communicate with them. And like we just talked about earlier. Oh, okay, boss. Well, as soon as I get back from, we already had defined my lunch or break, which I'm going to take as I'm supposed to with everybody else. I might be the one that stays here by myself. Everybody else goes. I'm going to go on my lunch like everybody else. It's just fair. When I come back, I absolutely will do this new project you're talking about. Just let me know what other project you want me to move back in my priority line so that I, because I'll be leaving, on time. Now you're going to use the right words and the right language. Basically, you're asking them, okay, absolutely, I'm going to do exactly what you want, but you're going to have to let me know then what else you want me to do that you need me to change so that I can meet your needs. It's the same thing in real life. The moment you recognize, and again, no lies, No lies. And often in real life, your other people in your community of caring will have said to you, and you know this, will have said to you, that person is not making you a priority. They'll have said it. And even if they try to say it really nicely, you will have sometimes angrily lashed out at them. That's not true. You don't know what happens behind closed doors. You don't know everything that goes on. Okay, yeah, right. Remember, it's evident. It may be goofy and embarrassingly evident, but when you're the priority and he's the priority and she's the priority and everyone's the priority, it's evident. Everyone sees it. They may even make fun of it. Ugh, it's so sickening. I've never seen people. Oh, you just care so much. That's your best friend? I guess so. So it's evident. The reason you become assertive in an inappropriate way with people who care about you or try to help you, say that's not somebody that's made you a priority, is because you know it's true. And you just want it so badly. You want them to make you their priority like you made them your priority. And I said, I understand. I have done this. I will not do this ever again. Because it is a situation that I voluntarily entered into as an adult that caused me pain for no reason. I can't control somebody else. I can't make somebody else make me a priority anymore than I can make them win the Olympic gold medal. Or make them 2 feet taller. I can't do any of that. And it's just as silly. You are or you aren't. And that's up to them. And it's not a reflection on us. It's their choice. I said to you earlier, I know you're special. Not special like a little snowflake, but you're special in that you're doing the things that not everyone else does. You're going above and beyond in pursuit of a life in all aspects that is so rich and so rewarding and so enjoyable that other people will observe you and say, that was a life. Wow. And I applaud that. And I'm angry and I'm frustrated that other people would come into your life where you're doing so many things that are positive and admirable and be there to inflict pain. But what I'm saying to you is that when that happens, which it happens to all of us at some level, all we can do is immediately observe it, communicate, see if there's something that's a misunderstanding, and then when we recognize it and it continues, then we have to change. It may be as simple as changing, okay, I'm not going to make them a priority because they're not making me a priority. And your work, it's the easier to do that, right? Because, all right, well, I'll just do my best and they'll do their best. And since they're not going to pay me extra or do anything else to compensate or reward or acknowledge these extra resources that they were requesting, then I'm going to go ahead and also be investing my resources in myself. Maybe I need to get my resume out. Maybe I need to do other things to ensure that I don't put all of my investment and priority into somebody who doesn't put it back into me. It's hard in your personal life because it may be that if it's a personal relationship, a friendship, a romantic relationship, and you have the honest moment of oh my goodness, I'm not their priority, then you really can't keep anything going. There's nothing really to pursue because it was predicated on caring. And if they don't care, then there's not really anything for you. There's not like another work mission that you're getting done together. So it may be the end of the friendship. It may be the end of the relationship, which is great because you need to get out there and find that experience. And I am telling you this, and I'm telling you this as a skeptic, and I'm telling you this as somebody who's been, just as negative as anyone you could probably imagine when really horrible things have happened in my life, and I mean horrible. I am telling you that just like I recognize in you these wonderful traits, right? Of you striving for more, of you learning, of you being ethical. There are people out there, if you would get these obstacles that are in your path who are so blind and silly that they don't see that they're, how rare someone like you is. That's the truth, right? Once you clear house of that opens up that space for real people who are going to be in that community of caring, probably lifelong. You can let them in, but there was no room for them because you spent all your time prioritizing and putting first these other people who didn't even put you at all on their priority list. So as soon as you get rid of that, now I've got time and I'm able to put somebody in my real life who wants to be there. And then it's so easy. You know how easy it is when these things work? It's just easy. There's trust, there's safety, there's security, there's commitment. It's easy. It's not easy all the time. But the core understanding is there. So when something bad happens, you got a lot of resources. And you also know when something bad happens, it's bad. And you may have to weather it together, and things may change in some ways, but the commitment won't. The investment and the respect and the admiration won't. It'll never change. That's what makes it easy. It's like in a healthy family, right? Grandma may, in a healthy family, say something you don't want to hear, but you know that that's coming from a place of love, of warmth, of safety, of trust, of wanting the best for you. And that's why those relationships, when they're healthy, are just awesome, because you know that's the place. You're safe. It's a home, not a physical home. It's an emotional home. You matter. And how wonderful that is. You absolutely, not only do you deserve it, everybody deserves to have people treat them with respect. But if you're in a situation where someone isn't, right, where you've made them a priority and they have not made you a priority as an option, you're doing this to yourself. They're an instrument that you're using to hurt yourself. Put that instrument down. Let them be about their business, be about their way. And then stop hurting yourself. And then continue to work so that we can open up the space in your life for somebody who's like you to come into it. And forge that lifelong trust, safe place. It's just so beautiful. And absolutely, it's gonna happen. If it isn't what you are experiencing in your life right now, it's only because you're using somebody who's not a priority to take up that space and prevent you from moving into what should be in your life. So I really hope that this was an opportunity for you to think about some of these things. I know what it's like. You just wish and want and hope so badly. And many times wishing and wanting and hoping are good things, combined with action, and we get really great outcomes in many things in life. But not with the personal relationship at work or outside of work, where you've made someone a priority and they have not reciprocated. You are not a priority in their life, because there's nothing you can do about it. Other than, as quickly as possible, communicate just to make sure there wasn't a misunderstanding, because that certainly has happened to me in life. And if it's not a misunderstanding and it continues, then you got to go ahead and make that change so that they can be wherever they need to be in their life, doing whatever it is they do, to hopefully nobody else. And you can open up that space that you spent on them being first and most important, so that somebody else who wants to be first and most important. Because guess what? You're first and most important for them. Yes. Now that's a whole other show. We talk about that sometimes. How do you handle that when it's just so, that relationship where they're clapping when you're walking down the aisle? Of course it's embarrassing. I have another friend I know who just got married in her midlife. She was in her 40s. Wonderful man. And sometimes she's a little, embarrassed how he treats her so well. And he always is bragging about her and saying all these nice things and treats her so well in their private life. And people tease her sometimes, some of her family and friends. But that's a different type of challenge, and it's something that we can easily work with. But that's where you deserve to be. It's not, you cannot defend a position to somebody else that you have value, that you should be the priority. And the fact that you even put yourself in that situation, having to try to do that, is just a sign that you've been in an unhealthy space and you were just hurting yourself. But you're not going to do it anymore. You know your value. I know your value. And lots of other people will know your value. But you got to get rid of those people that are in this space as a result of you just not having clear choices. Now you know. We talked about it. It's real. Right? And Maya Angelou, in all of her wisdom, through this one little quote, was doing a lot for us to bring into our lives more knowledge, to move us toward, we talk about all the time, it's just surpassing our goals. I'm very, very, very grateful to you for coming to the program today. And thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And as we close, remember, never make someone a priority. All you are to to them is an option.